This is the United States Military Academy. This is the official YouTube channel of the Army West Point Athletic Association. Today on Knightvision, Army faces Mount St. Mary's in the first round of the CRAA playoffs. High noon, everybody. Along with Captain Cullen McGee, I'm Nikolai Busko. We are grateful that you are here with us. I'm glad I've got the guy next to me because we got a lot to talk about here. First, let's talk about Army. Overall record, 10-3. They're 7-0 at home this year. They had won 7 in a row, but lost at Cal on March 15th and then at Cal Poly 4 days later. Is there any cause for concern heading to a knockout game?
Well, first, Nick, it's a pleasure to be here and to be next to such an iconic person in Army athletics and your iconic voice. First, what a great day it is to be back on Warrior Field. Truly excited to be here and what we have in front of us over the next 8 minutes.
Matt Sherman says we're laser focused on reaching a new best this Saturday and know we need to do so to extend our season against a very good Mount St. Mary's team. He says, I've loved our and hunger and drive all year, climbing at a rapid rate consistently. So we talked about Army. Mount St. Mary's, 8-5 overall, 3-2 in true road games. Last played March 22nd, went home over Ohio State 52-7. What about the Mount should we know, Colin?
I think we're looking at a play style that's fast-paced, more off the cuff, some attacking flair. Obviously at odds with what we are the receiver, the Black Knights, and scrapping through tough defense, tough walls. Perhaps similar if you watch the Cal Poly game, slowly trying to play dynamic on the opposite.
It was Alex Goff who said at his website. For those who have not known Alex, you should go to his website. In the end, we bumped Army ahead of MSM and did so in the D1 seedings. That puts them out on the road. But we think this is a toss-up game. Army needs to be more clinical on the goal line and will have to deal with MSM's kicking game. The Mount has goal-kicking talent, tight 5 power, and can defend. This should be close. For those new to the sport, what is tight 5 power, and what can Army do to combat that?
Say that our set piece dominance for the Black Knights is going to overcome what these Mount St. Mary's team can give us.
Not much history between the clubs. Only meeting came in 2022 in Emmitsburg, where Army defeated Mount St. Mary's 34-0. Michael Amberg scored 4 tries for Army in that game, but he graduated that year, so there's not much to tell you except we got 2 well-balanced teams. Now the big question, what's the weather going to be like? Well, kickoff temperature 50 degrees. There's going to be rain at some point. The field, it's better than it has been. How will a deteriorating field affect both teams as this match goes on?
I think, as I mentioned, if that Mount St. Mary's team tries to have their attacking flair and play out of their zone, handling errors might become an issue. I think when you think about West Point's attempt to play an attritional 80 minutes and just suffocate this team in terms of territory, kicking game might quickly lean into West Point's favor here.
Emilio Luciano is the one in charge of this match. He says, let's go, gentlemen. Army in black defended the sticks down to the right. Mount St. Mary's in white defended the sticks down to the left. Possession is clearly very important in this sport, especially the 15s. As Army is going to kick right away and see if they can gain some field position as Mount will get control of it. As there was a thought to kick there. Brought back towards the Mount 10 as the Mountaineers will now see if they can get organized, but Army strong defensively as down goes Hayden McKay for MSM. It comes down to Seamus McGroarty. Yep, he's one of the props. He's a big boy. More good tackling by Army here. Again, if you're new to the sport, there's no fourth down. And we're not in the Southern Hemisphere. There's a fifth tackle. Army able to come up with a turnover, and they'll try to get back to work quickly. But this is knocked ahead.
Okay, Nick, interesting what we saw here. West Point kicks it inside the 22, tries to find touch. Unfortunately, Isaac misses it. Then Mount St. Mary's tries to receive it, buys the play out of their zone. You're not going to make it. That Army defense was on them. Interesting how they tried to play out of there. We'll see how this first scrum goes. First set piece, always huge. This first scrum will mean a lot over the next 80 minutes.
I believe you said before we came on air that scrums don't normally decide games in the collegiate ranks. Why is that, number one? And number two, how can Army defend what we've already established to be very beefy front two rows here for Mount St. Mary's?
It's pretty simple. It's not overly technical. If you can win your own ball, then you'll be good to go. The technical aspect of the scrum isn't a huge deal. Just, if we can win our ball, we're fine.
Here comes Isaac Gamboa, but he's wrapped up quickly. You may have noticed that the play was brought back towards midfield after the whistle was blown. Referee, it's kind of like your computer. Many system restore points that go back to original penalties and in instances where the ball was before the offending team made a mistake. As Army will just try to go forward and be very, very deliberate and steady here. No ball handling errors. Yes, this is not football. There's no play clock. And this will be booted away by Nate Gould, one of the Shoals nominees across the country. Bounced a couple of times. His Mount must be in the shadow of their own in-goal area. As trying to barge his way through before being wrapped up by Gabe Savage. That was Guy Horan for Mount St. Mary's. This one's booted away. And we've got a whistle. And this one's going against Mount St. Mary's, I think.
Just as coach wants to do, suffocate the game, territory battle, a great kick into space. We found it, put them under pressure, put them inside their 22. They tried to kick out. Penalty there, we're going for points.
Is it important, especially before the rain comes, that Howie Heller and company make the most of their penalty kicks?
Absolutely, and I love going for points here. You don't get, if you can get points in knockout rugby, you get the points we can get.
Right at the 22. Wind will be a factor. As they always say across the world, respect the kicker. So that explains why there's beautiful silence here. And if the ball doesn't want to cooperate, that's okay. Army strikes first.
It's an attritional 80 minutes, but if you look at the first 4 minutes of the game, that is right in line with the game plan that Army wants to play over the next 76 minutes.
So Army gets 3 on the board at the 4th minute. Howie Heller will be asked to do a lot with his foot today. As we pointed out, first round of the CRAA, it's the static bracket, which means that today's winner will travel to either top-ranked Life or host Davenport next week. And in the other half of the East bracket, it'll be Lindenwood hosting Arkansas State today, Navy hosting Penn State. Top half of the West bracket, Cal hosts Colorado State and Cal Poly hosts Arizona. Bottom half of the West bracket, St. Mary's hosting UCLA and Central Washington hosting BYU. Semifinals will follow April 19th. The title game is May 3rd at Quince Memorial Stadium in Indianapolis. And we've got a whistle again. Looks like this one's against Army. And a question becomes, does Mount St. Mary's want to kick here?
Nice attacking platform for MSM here. Scrum center, a lot of options, go left or right here. We have the Rudy Schultz 12 set off to the right here. And then the other Rudy Schultz, their 15, Brunello, staggered behind the fly half. Gives them options both ways.
Evan Corbett, hometown is Bloemfontein, South Africa. Bastian Brunello, hails from Nouvelle-Aquitaine, France, but has played for the German national program. Is trilingual. There's Corbett there as he's trying to barrel through. Mount St. Mary's hangs on to the ball. Now we've got a whistle. No, we don't. Army able to come out with it. And another turnover forced for the Black Knights defensively.
Evan Corbett bumped our first defender, but didn't have his support. We got over that ball, turnover ball. Great job by West Point.
This one is kicked high into the air. There's no such thing as a fair catch. That one is caught, but barely, as Mount St. Mary's go back to work at the Army 10. Shuffled well. It bounces, though, as the Mountaineers must fall on it. Right at midfield. Look back now for McGroarty, who is stopped at midfield. He's wrapped up as Army converges on him. Shoveled by Calvo. As Mount continues looking for an opening, but Army is plugging up all the gaps right now. And a big, big hit. Trying to push a refrigerator back into the basement.
Might have missed a knock there.
Seven minutes in. Army leads 3-0. Kept on the ground. The ball is live when it's kicked. It's taken now by Heller, who looks to get rid of it, but wrapping him up is Sherrick. Right now, for your Army, slow and steady. No ball handling errors. Just trying to make some ground every single touch of the ball. George Engel's getting involved as well. Possession's so important, especially this time of year. And somebody from Mount St. Mary's I thought might have jumped there. But Army still in possession. Initial observations, sir. Has anything from either team surprised you so far?
No, I think this is exactly what we anticipated in this game. Here we go, Isaac and Boa. Play the territory battle. Let's see our kick chase here. Get organized.
So Mount St. Mary's will get it again. Is trying to spin around is Haran. He's finally wrapped up at about midfield. Mount St. Mary's trying to race to the nearest sideline. Here comes Corbett, who'll kick it nice and high. Again, anybody can come up with this ball. Army muff it, and it's taken by McKay. So the first real ball handling error by Army today, as trying to cut through is Dylan Staub for Mount St. Mary's. Got some help, and switch back now the other way. Ball might have been knocked ahead as Luciano blows the whistle down. 9th minute, Army still in front 3-0.
Yeah, unlucky there, so we cleared it out. Return kick by Corbett. We muffed it, but we continued to play in the game, earned our knock on. I think we'll look to set a platform here, play the territory battle, get it back on the Mount St. Mary's side of the field.
Army! So Army, important scrum here. As Gamboa gets ready to put the coin into the slot here. Is there anything different you expect to see here with this scrum based on what you saw in the first?
No, win our ball, set the platform, get it down on their end.
It's like a spider forming with many, many legs. That tarantula. Army finally get it back in a more central location. Cries for high tackle going unanswered. And now we've got a whistle and a takedown. And not releasing the ball, I believe, is the call here.
That's correct, Nick. I thought we had our support there.
For those new to the sport, once you are down, you must get rid of the ball, and it does look like the tee is coming out for Evan Corbett. This is not a gimme today, based on the fact that the field is not in great condition, and it's a bit of a swirling wind, but Evan Corbett, one of the Shoals nominees on this Mountaineers team, approximately 27, 28 meters away. We played 10.5 minutes of this first round CRAA game. Army seated 4th in the East, Mount St. Mary's 5th. The teams As far as common opponents go, almost identical. And Corbett could have made that one from Thayer Gates. 11th minutes. We are all square at 3.
So, Nick, last night I had the honor to attend the jersey presentation. Coach Sherman mentioned neither team is going to play 100%. No one is going to be 100% perfect, but the team that can be closer to being 100% perfect will win this game. Both teams have conceded a penalty. Both teams have given up 3 points. So, all even, 11 minutes in.
Again, not much wiggle room for either team. They have not played each other this season. It is Mount St. Mary's first ever visit here to Warrior Field. Sometimes when a team comes to West Point for the first time, regardless of sport.
Huge kick. Pin them within 10 meters of the try zone. This is huge. First lineup of the day. Let's see what Mount St. Mary's brings.
Sometimes when a new team comes here for the first time, they're in awe of this place. It does not appear that the Mountaineers are in awe of what they've seen here on post. Yes, an important lineout coming up as the shuffling continues. As Mount St. Mary sees the light at the end of the tunnel, maintain possession, but Army pushes back immediately. Into the end goal area it goes, not charged down by Army. That could have been dangerous for the Mountaineers, as this one will wander out of bounds.
I like where West Point is putting this ball in right here, right about the 35-meter line. They did exactly what they need to do. Great kick off the restart. Good quick line out here by West Point. Begin the ball. Let's see what they do.
Army some good speed as they develop here from right to left, but a great tackle near the 10. Again, Army, if you're just the Black Knights, protect the ball here. Make good, clean decisions when you toss that ball, which I don't think is incredibly wet yet. Now they come back near side. Long pass, it'll be taken by Letford. Letford might have some space, but he is wrapped up quickly by Xavier Locke. Army still possession. This will be kicked by Gamboa. Running down is Heller. Can he find it? He's being wedged off. Jump ball, and taking it is Locke as he's able possibly to save a try. The shoving continues. Involved is Letford for Army. He wants that ball back, as Mount will get rid of it. No, it's not coming up here, but able to release some pressure on the Mountaineers as Army finds itself in a good spot. 14 minutes.
Luke Letford, Alaska zone. We call him the Moose. Great carry, set up a platform. A little cheeky kick by Isaac Gamboa to pin that down there. Unfortunately, Howie Heller couldn't get it, but we pinned them down there. That traditional rugby, suffocating defense. This is a great platform for our lineout right here.
Gabe Savage has a brief conversation with Jacob Bottarini, who will look to execute a good line out again. Wind is swirling a little bit. But Army able to secure and go from there. Army trying to push, trying to turn things around here. Protection continues. Ball is put back down as it's spun back out by Gamboa. Ultimately came to Gould. Nate Gould, the Shoals nominee for Army. Sanchez approaching the 22 is pushed back. They looked a little bit quicker there than they have been so far today.
They did. It was good chase defense by MSN. Good ball defense right here. I thought we might have got that going.
Army trying to be patient. It might have been a high tackle there against Mount St. Mary's, and Luciano signals so. You
Offsides.
cannot grab offsides too?
Offsides.
Okay. I saw the arm come up.
No, you might be right, Nick. My apologies. It looked like he might have jumped that, but the ref indicated high. Pin this down there within the 5. Let's get our maul going. Score a try here.
So this will be kicked to the touch, and Army If the ball never comes down, yes, it finally will. We'll go to work about maybe 10, 12 away from the end goal area. So they've been very good with line out so far today. Is there anything they try differently given the fact that they've got a short field?
I anticipate they'll go to the ball here. See if they can get it going. Get to go forward. First things first, we got to
Ball is secured as Army will try to move them all, try to go forward. It continues to move down towards the 5. They're not quite to the doormat yet. They can't ring the doorbell just for a moment. And now we've got a whistle. It looks like it's going to be against Army.
Looks like a knock-on indicated by Amelia.
Goes back to what we said at the top of the show. Army must finish and do a better job inside the final 5, inside the final 10 they did on the West Coast.
You're exactly right, Nick. This is what Coach says. If you're inside the opponent's 22, if you're attacking within the side of the 22, they either commit a penalty or you score points. And if they commit a penalty, then you eventually score points. So there's only one option when you get inside their 22, you score points. So a little disappointing to see that right there, but let's just keep it buried inside their half.
Is there a chance that Mount St. Mary's, once they secure the scrum, will try to kick from their in-goal area?
They will. They might try to play a phase or two to get a better platform.
Oh, and it's out, though. It's wet back. Army will maintain possession. How do you like that? Somebody from the Mountaineers laid an egg, and Army's able to scramble it. They must take advantage of this opportunity. Manges, the skipper, tries to drive his way through. Shifted back again. Bonnerini tries to barrel his way through, but he's wrapped up involved. Was Sharrock and company for Mount. Back now. Schmidlin looking for an opening. Can't find one yet. Look back now for Savage. He gets back to the 22. Gamboa blocked as Gould tried to kick it through. And now we've got a whistle.
Advantage off a offsides for Mount St. Mary's. That's why Nate tried to get that ball through via the foot. Looks like we're going for points again. Like I said, knockout rugby. When you get the points, you take the points.
So that situation is similar to an offsides free play in football where he knew that there was nothing to lose by kicking in that situation.
Exactly.
Well, as the rain comes, I'm now going to drape this thing with my jacket. Yes, so Colin gets out of the way. Okay, I think we're good to go now. We're approaching the midway point of this first half. Yes, the rain has arrived. It is 3-3, and it looks like there's going to be a hold here as Heller tries to go 2 for 2 for the day. Well, the cannon went off, but I didn't see any flags go up.
I think it was missed by Howie off to the left.
Yep, he missed it. The points have to come off. At least we know the cannon works. So that's a break for Mount as we approach the midway point of this first half. Still 3-3. As soon as I saw the ball being held on the tee, I knew this might not be a gimme. So Army must get back to work. Shoveled quickly by Sanchez as Army looking to make some ground. But Mount St. Mary's involved. This one is partially blocked. It's still loose. It's squibbed. We've got a whistle.
Ref indicating knock on by Army. Knock on by Mount St. Mary's. Scrum Army.
So that situation, the charge down, will turn into a knock on.
It should not if it's blocked. So there might have been something we didn't see in there after that block.
She's got better eyes and a better view than most of us do. So we see Army here set up another scrum here as we've reached the midway point of this first half. The score is 3-3.
We like scrum centers. Once again, gives us options left and right. I think we'll try to play a little bit, see if maybe we can get somewhere, and then probably go play that territory battle again.
Here comes the kick. This one is blocked again, but it comes right back. Army catches the huge break. They stay on side, and it's booted further downfield. And this one gets away as rushing after it. That might be Brunello back through, gets rid of it. And it goes high to the air, into a tree. Army, I think we call that a happy accident.
Yeah, a little bit of luck there. We're getting a lot of balls blocked. I wonder how we're going to adjust to ensure that doesn't happen. Nate Gould, hands, tries to attack a little bit, doesn't see it, sees the space in deep. Throws it back to Bastian Brunello. Doesn't have a great clean recovery. Goes to touch.
I am generally surprised with the spot here. Army's got great field position. They're right on the 5. They're on the doorstep. As the maul forms, can Army break free? Ball is still in possession. No signal yet. The ball is definitely not down. They got to dot it down. Can somebody get it in, or will it be held? Army thinks they've scored. No, it's held! And Army fails to score again.
Held up, it's tough. Once again, inside our 22, we got to start scoring tries here. It gets tough, it gets messy, it's dirty in there, but we got to find a way to put the rock over the white line. But once again, don't let off the pressure here. I think we've been playing the way Coach wants us to play over this first 20 minutes. They have a goal line dropout. Keep the pressure on. Relentless here.
Army has done everything but score a try here in this first half. They got the first points on a penalty kick from Howie Heller. Mount tied it off the foot of Evan Corbett a short time later. They've had 2 massive opportunities, put points on the board, have not been able to do so. That was the problem, especially in the Cal Poly game, the second of the 2 they had out west. Ball secured at midfield, approaching the Mount 10 is Army. Just trying to maintain possession, to maintain focus here. The rain has started. It may not get heavy, but it's definitely here. And so that ball may become a little bit more slick. As getting tackled there was Joey Knight for Army. Gamboa gets rid of it, bought some more time, got it away from Staub, who is charging in. And calling for a mark inside his 22 is Logan Wild. Yes, you can call for a fair catch in rugby.
Right in line with our game plan. Tried to prod the defense a little bit, didn't like what we see. Do that box kick by Isaac, call the mark, and then we're right back into it.
This one's heading towards us. And somebody dropped it, but not me. That's okay. One time I caught a ball here years ago during a women's game, tossed it back into the field of play, and nearly took out one of the cadets down to the sideline. He said, Nick, don't do that again. So a line out here for Army, as Bonarini's ready to go here. But first,
you know, Nick, we don't like to call rugby a game of inches here, but you saw where that box kid happened, maybe in between the 40 or the 10-meter line and the 50. Then they play it back deep into Mount St. Mary's end. Mount St. Mary's then goes to touch, and we just gained 20 meters there within about 3 phases of play. So, you know, it's the margins here are so slim, especially in knockout rugby.
Army secures the line out. That's been a strength of the game for them so far. It comes to Bonarini. Blake's right, turns left. Cuts back on the left side. Hook back now as Army continues to try to get close, but a tremendous tackle is made by Joe Sharrock. It is a good job of taking care of the ball carrier. So does Horan here. Yes, you can be penalized if you don't take care of the man with the ball when you tackle. It's not wrestling where you can slam as hard as you want. And suddenly the ball is all the way back to the Mount 10. Outletted now to Heller, who gets wrapped up well by Horan. Gamboa gets his party set up. Savage tries to drive through.
Playing advantage.
Advantage given. You see the arm stuck out by Luciano. Pushing continues. This one is kicked by Gould. Rerouted, not able to make the catch. I believe that might have been lent for on the far side, and because advantage was given, they'll go back to the original spot, which is right at the Mount 10, it looks like.
Once again, we can get a little creative when we're playing that advantage. Almost played to our favor. Matt Leslie out there in the 14 jersey, unlucky bounce. I assume we'll go to touch here, try that maul again, and let's finish inside our 22. Let's finish.
Believe the whistle, the advantage was given for not releasing the ball carrier. Army hoping for a good spot here.
Let's go, Army!
Again, they've done everything but score 7. They've had possession down inside the 22. Bottarini will once again make sure that ball is dry. Again, it is drizzling a little bit. Not terribly. Toss comes in. It's a short one this time. Army trying to just push the ball. Get inside at 22. But it's rest. No, wait a second. Lewis thought he had it, and now he has to go back.
From the side on the maul. Great job winning that line out. Howie Heller going to the corner now. Scrum 5. Let's get this ball in right here.
For those new to the sport, rugby only has 2 doors, front door and back door. There's no side door in rugby. 13 and a half left in the opening half. Army should be ahead, but have had some bad luck inside the 22 so far today. Can they exercise some demons here? Lots of movement in the tunnel. Army able to secure. Gamboa inside it, came for Gould. Tries to get closer. Army still with it. Engels. He can't get closer, but he does maintain possession. Shifted back. There's somebody open on the left side. It's dropped by Heller, but it's regathered. Pushed forward quickly. That wasn't forward. Sanchez still has it. That could have ended very badly for Army. Ball is getting slick. Bottarini looks to go forward. Back to the 22 he came. Trying to push his Duffy. Duffy. He goes down. Gould. He is stopped. We've got a whistle. Looks like this one is against Army, either for a knockout or a forward pass.
It looked like a knock-on down in there, Nick. Once again, our green zone woes become apparent. It's almost like the more you want it, the more pressure you put on that situation, the harder it gets. I think we just need to calm down, compose ourselves, play our attritional rugby nice and slow, take the pressure off ourselves a little bit when we're in there, and maybe we can turn things around.
Another one of those, and it looks like Groundhog Day for Army. Mount St. Mary's will control the scrum here. I think they're far enough field now where they don't have to kick necessarily, but they do have a kicking advantage over Army. It'll be taken by Corbett, who does kick it deep. It is flubbed off the chest of Sanchez, and that's going to be costly for Army.
Booming kick by Noah, unfortunately, handling error there. It's going to happen in these conditions right here. How do we respond? How do we react to these?
So another scrum coming up for Mount St. Mary's, which has not had the territory possession Army has had today. But they've done enough defensively to maintain a presence. And now Army must come up big in this scrum. They must stand tall again. Tight 5 power. Part of the Goff scouting report from Mount St. Mary's. Everybody's anxious. Cowboy and Bull going to work. And we got a whistle. And this one is against Mount St. Mary's, it looks like.
They're going to celebrate every whistle over there. They're going to try to get the ref to look upon what they're doing favorably. I think she just wants to reset. I'm sure they got some long studs in there, but it's still hard to keep your traction. Find a new clean piece of grass. Do it again.
Yeah, I didn't see a signal for collapsing the scrum, anything like that. And I think she is telling Army, yes, I get it. I understand you want the ball too, but it wasn't enough of an infringement to deny the possession. They'll try it again. Calvo finds it. Some good passing here, but some good hitting as well. Everybody jumping all over the place. It's a bar brawl, but there are no chairs and tables. Locke gets knocked down at the 22. Ball got stuck briefly. Shifted forward. Breaking through is Damon James, but he's wrestled by Manges. I think Manges giving away a lot there. Mount St. Mary's has not been down here all day. As taken down as Lewis. Corbett defers. This one goes to a set of legs, but it's maintained by Mount. 9 minutes left, opening half. 3-3 to score. More hitting. No pads. A couple guys have helmets. Do they do any good? I don't know. McGroarty gets down at the 22. Somebody for Army is down on his back on the far side. We've got a whistle. Not releasing, I believe, is the call against Mount. And now we can check on the injured cadet down on the far side.
Not releasing Army ball. Don't have a number yet. Who's down over there?
It looks like time off here to check on the man who's down.
Charlie!
Yes, you said that this is a game of attrition, but it also very, very taxing on the human body. Great for all the coaches in this sport who show these young men and young women how to play this game safely. Again, Army has had chances to score more than those 3 points. There was a kick by Heller missed along the way.
So we see Dakota Wagner on the ground over there. Looks like trainer indicated head. Gets our substitutions a little bit off sync. Obviously, you don't anticipate to do a substitution within the first 30 minutes of the game, and Dakota is a warrior. I know the last thing he'd want to do is to leave this game. But we have a great bench. We have depth, and I'm sure we'll fill those pieces.
You don't see him in a huddle there. Now if I want to go back into the shot, Damon James just had what would be called in the Nathan's hot dog contest reversal of fortune. I'm glad we didn't get that live because some of you might be a little bit squeamish, but it just shows how hard everybody's playing right now between him and Wagner.
Nick, when we got a bit of a second here, I think it's interesting to continue to talk about this matchup. So throughout this 2024-2025 season, we've had 8 common opponents. Same results for each game. We won 7 and lost 1. Our same loss was against the Naval Academy. So it just gives you a perspective about how even these teams are.
The one result that jumped out at me for Mount St. Mary was that game against Life, I think.
Yeah,
and
absolutely a nice result. A 19-21 loss to down in Atlanta against a great Life team, the #1 team in the East. You know, we're not messing with any.
This one is not going to be saved. For those unfamiliar with Life University, NAIA member, in the same vein that nobody depends on ice hockey more than North Dakota does, perhaps no institution with a rugby program depends more on its rugby programs than Life does. This will be carried through by the newcomer. It is Charlie Rowling, who's checked in now for Dakota Wagner. The pushing continues as he's got a fresh tank of gas. Army with 8 minutes left in the half. Score tied at 3. Can they get one on the board before halftime? Here comes Letford, who's able to drive through across the 22. Manges tries to barge his way through again. Cannot. Play on, says Luciano. Back to the 22 it goes.
Come back this way! Benji, don't you come back this way?
Gould, no place to go. Good discipline by both teams so far in this possession.
Coming back for a penalty advantage back on the left side here. Just to clean up the substitution. So unfortunately, Dakota Wagner was subbed off. Charlie Rollins came on the field to prop. Jacob Botterini moved over to hooker. So a bit of a different, fresh front row there, but we did see a little bit of energy in that ball. And now we'll be attacking inside the 22. Looks like we're going to touch.
So for the moment, no kick from Heller, at least not for the Sticks. He'll put this in a touch, and there has to be some urgency now here for Army. They've had opportunities to score tries, have not been able to do yet.
We can call it urgency, Nick, but once again, let's take the pressure off of this situation. Let's be deliberate and not think about it too much, and you know, maybe we can get this over. I think what's interesting to note here is our penalty difference is getting big.
I see 6-1, yeah.
6-1.
Rollins tries to drive through. Again, he's got fresh legs. He's at the 5. Can Army get to the line and dot down? No signal yet. Mount St. Mary's trying to keep them out. They score!
Attritional 80-minute rugby. Doesn't really matter who scores there. A maul try is a forward stride. That's a big push. That's huge. 6 minutes left. Go up 8-3 with the kick to come.
Not sure ultimately got it, but certainly Charlie Rollins, who's just jumped on for Dakota Wagner, had a big role in that maul.
Way to go, Dylan! Good job, Army!
Mount St. Mary's has not played poorly, but Army has finally been able to break through. And now Howie Heller has a chance to convert. He's 1 for 2 in penalties today. Those new to the sport, you must attempt the conversion from roughly where the ball was dotted down. And he's going to miss this one. So that's a big miss. Mount St. Mary's, we pointed out, definitely has the kicking game in its back pocket. Army only leads 8-3, but finally some points on the board in a critical spot. That'll help their confidence.
No, Nick, if we take a perspective on this game, coach is going to be happy. We knew neither team was going to play 100%, but we're playing our game plan. This penalty difference is going to keep growing. We got to continue to score, keep our calm, our collective when we're attacking inside that 22.
We'll try to find out who ultimately got the try there. It could have been a whole host of guys. There were 4 or 5 of them that were definitely at the bottom of that pile. Good handle, and Army will get rid of it quickly. And see if they can push Mount St. Mary's further back.
This is huge right here. We got to get organized for this first counterattack.
Brunello with a swift kick, tries to get it himself, but instead it's regathered and brought back quickly by Heller, who lost it. Ball is loose. It's picked back up quickly by Sanchez. And some good tackling by Staludi. Engels got back to midfield. Under 4 minutes left, opening half. Army finally in front, 8-3. Bonarini ultimately wrapped up by McGroarty. A lot of muscle in that exchange. Gamboa using his foot because you can't use your hands. And stretching the leg there was Duffy to give him some clearance. Catch is made by Wild. He's wrapped up immediately. 3:10 left on the clock. This one is booted away quickly. Good bounce, it came to Heller. Throws a pass, that's too far. And it is booted again. I thought for a short amount may have come up with an Army able to take control. That could have been disastrous, but they're not in the woods yet. Quick kick. Everybody's onside for Army, and they can touch it, but it's put right back, and a good wrap there. 2.5 left in the opening half. For those new to the sport, the clock may read 0, but generally the team with possession can hang on to the ball as long as they want, unless they clear it in a touch or score.
Great take by Noah. Good to see him take that securely.
And now it's taken away by Mount. Ball is kicked ahead, though. Thought it was kicked back by Army. No whistle, and it's booted back again. Looking for it is Letford. Had some space, defers. Back it came, nice shovel pass. Does Jeff Bunkin need help? This one is going to be kicked back towards the Mount 10. It goes off a hand, no knock on, as it is Wild. Wild looking for help. He goes down around the 10. 100 seconds left in the opening half. First round CRAA tournament game. Army leads Mount St. Mary's 8-3. The rain for the moment has stopped. How long it stays that way, who knows? Another kick here. Mount St. Mary's. Nice and high. Secure catch as Army goes back to work. Can somebody make a big play at the end of the half? Handed back by Sanchez. And not sure what to do, I think, for what was Gould. Not sure he expected the ball to come to him. 40th and final minute opening half. Army still in possession as Miney the egg is Heller. He will restart. It's an onside play as coming to make the catch is Wild, with somebody staring the whites of his eyes for Army.
Nice stick by George Angles. Earned the penalty.
Not releasing the ball.
So Nick, I think over this last 10 minutes, we've seen a little bit of a different strategy from Mount St. Mary's. I think after Noah Sanchez had that knock-on down there, they've gone to more of this kicking approach, put all off Pernello. They want to kick to Pernello and put us under pressure, which I think that was a bit of a change within the last 15 minutes or so.
It's a bit of a lazy way to try for three, so Army will kick it into touch and try to come with a big try at the end of the half. Army trying to exercise some demons. You see the last of the 40 minutes. Final possession, potentially for Army in this first half, barring a penalty.
Jacob Botterini getting that ball nice and dry. We're going to see the maul. Mount St. Mary's knows we're going to do the maul. Let's see what we can do.
There's been a substitution for Mount. Hunter Herzog is now in the game. Somebody from Mount just came off. Here we go. Army secures the ball. Lineouts have been their bread and butter today. Maul forms. Can they drive in? They're inside the 5. The pushing continues. Can somebody dot down for Army? Can they get it down? Yes, they do! That is a tremendous try at the stroke of halftime. It might have been Landon Duffy at the bottom of that pile. He is among those jumping for joy, and Army leads by 10.
What a way to end the half. Go into the locker room with some energy. Big positive play. And as I said, Nick, I think they're right in line with the game plan that Coach Sherman wanted the team to play for this first 40 minutes.
So, one final kick to put Army potentially in front by 12. Heller is 1 for 2 in PKs, missed the earlier conversion. Field isn't great, but again, not much wind at the moment. And the rain has by and large stopped for the moment. The train trying to put them off. Off the goalpost. Well, the good news for Army is they're up 13-3, but the bad news is they've left a lot of table scraps on the table.
I think you're right, Nick, but as I said, neither team is going to play 100%. Over 40 minutes, we were the better team that played closer to 100% during those first 40 minutes. I think we just keep playing this attritional rugby, this suffocating defense, this territory game, and it'll be interesting to see how Mount St. Mary's tries to play. Are they going to continue as they were that last 10 minutes to play the possession game, put our back three under that pressure, or are they going to have some attacking flair and try to play out of their zone?
We're going to have a special guest during halftime. His name is Colonel Nathaniel Conkey. He is the Commandant of the United States Military Academy Prep School, former All-Army Rugby combatant. We'll take a break and come back with him here on Knightvision. They tell me that we can proceed. We can go. We are grateful to have a man with us who, if you know him around West Point, he's done a lot here. He's done a lot down the hill. He is the Commandant of the United States Military Academy Preparatory School. He's also an all-Army rugby legend. We're grateful to have Colonel Nathaniel Conkey joining us here at halftime. Army in front of Mount St. Mary's, 13-3 in the opening round of the CRAAs. Something changed toward the end of the first half, didn't Army finally able to get a couple of tries into the in-goal area?
Yeah, Nick, love seeing it. You know, I think we dominated time of possession. I don't know what the numbers are. We dominated the territory. Good to see us finally put one in, or a couple in here at the end. We can do it. Just glad to see it.
You have an interesting job. You get to be the guy in charge of a lot of people, a lot of them football players for Jeff Monken, trying to get through a year at the prep school before they become cadet candidates and then ultimately cadets here at the U.S. Military Academy. For those who are not familiar with the prep school, what does that job entail briefly, just seeing how those young people are trying to get better? What are the differences between the prep school and here?
You hit a bunch of things right on the head. And it's identity. Every single day that I'm out there, I'm surrounded by energy. I'm surrounded by people who want to get better across all sorts of facets. It's academically, it's military, it's physically, it's certainly character. It's what we're trying to do. So, like I said, tons of energy. We absolutely get to have that 10 months to get better and to get us, as you said, down the hill to Germany.
You've given a lot to the sport of rugby. The sport has given a lot back to you. When did the rugby bug bite you?
Oh, that's a great question. I initially had the option, or I was asked to come down as a cadet, but to be quite honest, I was scared. I mean, if you look out here at what they're doing, they have every right to be, right? It's absolute warriors out here. So I didn't actually get into it until I was in the Army. I was a captain at Fort Campbell, and I was a company commander. My lieutenant at the time, one of my lieutenants, my XO, said, "Hey, sir, have you ever thought about rugby?" I said, "I've thought about it." I said, "Sir, we need a way to get some aggression out of it." And so absolutely went out the Fort Campbell Claymores, met a ton of great folks. They got me into it, got me into All Army, and that was just a few years ago. Haven't looked back. Love it. When it's 15s or 7s, it's been a blast.
Where did playing for the All-Army rugby team take you? Where did you go, and what did you accomplish when you were playing?
That's a great question. It's literally taken me around the world. We got to put on the All-Armed Forces jersey and play just as recently as this past summer overseas in the Netherlands. Got to play in the national tournament. But it's taken me really to the rank that I've gotten to be in, the position that I'm in right now. Would not have been possible if it wasn't for some of that exposure through rugby. Got to represent, both the installations that I've been at. This was here at West Point as a captain and major. At Fort Lewis, then Fort Lewis, John Base. Got to represent that. And anytime you get to the Army name, that's on our uniform that we wear to work every day. Just the athletic gear that we're wearing right now. It's absolutely cool.
Was there a program you had to participate in order to play? I think it's called the Army Action Program or something like that.
So there's a couple different options. So the All-Army program is designed specifically for like the soldier athlete. I'm going to be a soldier almost all the time at my unit, at my organization. And then a couple weeks out of the year, it doesn't matter if it's rugby or bowling, you get to go be an athlete and get paid to be an athlete for a couple weeks out of the year. It's amazing. The World-Class Athlete program is another option, and that's where you're 24/7, 365 in the Olympic pipeline training to be a part of that sports squad. So didn't have the chance for a world-class athlete program, but I've had an absolute blast and a ton of pride in being able to represent the Army across all sorts of things.
Before every game, the program dedicates a jersey to a fallen brother. Is it safe to say that among all the varsity programs here at West Point, that there are very few that have the sense of family that these brothers do?
100%. It's a brotherhood. They are the brothers. We like to honor our own. Just a couple weeks ago, we had, I think it was the Arizona game, we got to honor Jimmy Gerlin's class of 2002. And played not with Jimmy, but a lot of his brothers. I got to meet with a lot of his brothers from that class, and those that played with them. Just really special, special to do it for the family and for Jimmy's win.
Everybody's remembered every single time that this team takes the pitch. We're grateful to have you here, Colonel. Thanks for joining us, and let's see how the second half unfolds.
Yeah, let's root them on. We'll be loud. Go Army.
Colonel Nathaniel Conkey. He's the Commandant of the United States Military Academy Prep School, former Army All-Army Rugby All-Star. We'll take a break and come back for the second half here on Knightvision.
Let's go.
We are back for the second half of this first round CRAA test between Army and Mount St. Mary's. 13-3. Army, couple of breakthrough tries at the end of the first half. In the 34th minute from Dylan Liskey, and right at the gun of the first half, it was Landon Duffy after Army, their maul game, was able to sustain them in the last few minutes of that first half.
No, absolutely, Nick, and I think for these next 40 attritional minutes, don't so it's not broke. Just clean up inside that deep green zone. Try to limit the handling errors and make them make handling errors, which we just saw right there. This is huge start to the second half right here.
So I believe that is now 9 penalties, or actually 8, maybe 9 for, unless they count a knock-on as a penalty, some won't. But that's 8 penalties for Mount and 1 for Army. How many of those are unforced errors, you think, for Mount?
You know, I think we're seeing a lot of high tackles and offsides, and so they just need to, if they're going to continue to play in this game, they're going to have to clean up that penalty count. But once again, from a West Point team, that's what we want to see. Discipline, 1 penalty in the first half is huge.
Army, the scrum has been good today against a beefy Mount St. Mary's top 5. Here comes Manges. Manges looks to get his way through. He's down to the 5. Can Army score again and continue to build that big fortress? Meaningful silence. It's kicked back out to Duffy. Still nothing yet. They got to get closer. Patience if you're Army. Don't try to force it. Just hang on to it. Good inside dump off there. No signal yet from Luciano. They're still short. Just keep pounding that door. It's got to break through if you're Army at some point. They go back wide. It's spilled, but it's recovered.
Matt Leslie, good recovery.
He's got Edward Scissorhands fingernails to keep things going for Army. Again, it's not raining. The does not mean that ball is wet. Every second coming off the clock is a good second for Army with his 10-point lead. Can they show that they are well-conditioned cadets against a Mount team that has played hard, but has not had much time of possession down to the Army 22? It comes to Heller, who tries to drive through a support from Leslie. Gamboa fishes it out. The longer it goes, the more it feels like Army must score it. We've got a whistle. And we've got a whistle. This one looks like it's against Army.
Looked like not releasing on Army. So, Nick, right here, it started off with the scrum. That was about 10 phases of rugby, maybe 10 plus. It started with an Elijah Mangus run on the blind side, and I love that play. Got him down to inside the 5-meter line. We play some forwards ball. We end up about the 0-meter line right in front of our try zone. Then we get a little cute, and then we end back up in our 22. We got to be disciplined inside the attacking 22.
A bit of a break for Army as the kick from Mount was short, so it's right now back for Leslie. Can Army try again? Get it a try that would be very difficult perhaps for Mount to overcome. The margin is only 10 right now, 3.5 minutes into the second half. This one is kicked softly, and it's just going to bounce right on the line, it looks like.
Tough kick, straight into touch. It will come back for a line out of where the ball was kicked. But over the last couple phases, it basically went from their try line to our 10-meter line. 60 meters given up in several phases. I'm interested to see the subs in the second half. Looks like it's beginning with Luke Leach on for Dylan Liskey.
Liskey has one of the tries. He'll come off. The rain is starting to come down again.
So we have Luke Leach coming into the locks paired with George Angles. It looked like Landon Duffy is now in the back row, probably playing the 8-man.
Ball wasn't straight. At least I don't think it was. As Army will try to scramble that egg here.
Mishandled at the back of the line out, Army ball.
Again, the rain continued to cause a bit of an issue. Not as heavy as I thought it was, or thought it would be, but there's still plenty of time left in this game. 5 minutes gone, latter half. Army just trying to go slowly here, but out of the reach. And down goes the assistant as Letfer was coming after that ball. The assistant puts up his flag, but he's not surrendering. He says he's okay.
So it dropped in before touch, so it'll be a line out for Mount St. Mary's on the 10-meter line. Interesting choice by Nate. I think he saw the space out there, saw Luke Letfer approaching it, maybe just missed it slightly, but let's win this line out. We just won the previous one, let's win this one.
Mount needs possession or a big play. This one's out of the hands of Herzog. Army forced Mount to recover and have to look inwardly. Good offloads here as Mount making a couple of steps. Horan knocked down, able to get rid of it again. It's brought back by McGroarty for Mount. Army keying in on Evan Corbett, as well they should. This one might have gone out of the hands of Herzog, who's had a minute to forget, and it's brought back quickly.
Knock-on advantage.
Savage able to take the offload from Mangus. Fake back. Army will maintain possession here as they get back to the 10. Army wants a high tackle. No set at the register, at least not for the moment. Shifted back as Army just trying to keep possession here. Again, for those new to the sport, this is not football. There's no play clock. There's no chain gang. Just maintain possession, and Army continues to do just that and continue to work hard.
Charlie Rowland, since he's been on, has been an impact player.
What does Charlie do well, and how is it helping specifically besides having fresh legs?
Penalty, Mount St. Mary's. Went quick. Noah, good idea. Get one more out.
Brought back on the near side, it's Army. Warming to the task again. Knocked down was Gambo. Shifted back here, Rollins. Again, he's been the X factor since coming in. This team has been different. About 10 away now. Army trying to pose its will physically. Leslie driving through. Ball spills out. Army able to rescue it though. A good tackle there by Brunello. Agus left behind. Off somebody's bottom. Poked ahead by somebody's foot from Mount St. Mary's. Live ball. Rescued by Letford, who looks to reverse. Almost dragged down by the shorts. You can do that.
The deep green zone woes continue for Army.
It's almost mind over matter at this point. As Mount St. Mary's has control again. Now it's almost given away. We've got a whistle. Or do we? No, we don't. Play continues on. Thought I heard something. They came to it almost a stop. It's ripped away. Quick kick forward. We've got a whistle.
So that's a penalty because as you're tackling, you can't strip the ball and a dump tackle.
So once you're committed to the man, that's only the man.
Exactly.
Do we have another substitution here? No, we don't. That's just getting rid of something there was Landon Duffy. Is now Luciano explaining to Mount St. Mary's what the options are here going forward from their own 10. 8.5 gone, second half, Army front 13-3.
Center of the pitch, looks like they're putting in Brunello's boot here to find touch.
And they're not able to save it, so Mount St. Mary's will advance further. No need to panic for your Army, right? Even though you haven't been able to score here, you still feel good about the possession and the fact you've taken 9 minutes off the clock without having to do much defensively.
No, and is this the first time Mount St. Mary's is in our defensive zone? Our side of the field?
It's straight enough. Mount St. No, wait a second. No, I thought it was going to be against Mount St. Mary's against Army.
I think it was contact in the air on the line out.
Brought back by Sherrick, who's trying to go forward. Gets wrapped up, and so Mount St. Mary's must continue on here with Weil, who gets dumped. Good tackling there. As involved heavily was Gould. Army stays on side. It's shifted back. Good offload there, but Army not taking the bait. Pushing continues as it comes now for Wild. Another good tackle, good thunderous contact here as Mount St. Mary's has gotten inside the 22. Now it's out. Army, wait a second.
I think we're going to have hands in the ruck or offsides.
Why anyone would put their hands in the ruck is beyond me. It's like putting your hands in a wood chipper.
Brunello will try to find touch here. I imagine Mount St. Mary's will try to establish a maul here. See if West Point tries to get somebody up in the line out or if they're going to go immediately to that maul defense.
Well, Luciano's just had a conversation, presumably with Manges. There must be some repeated infringement going on. You can get carded if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
That's exactly right, Nick. I think there was a little extracurricular too. Want to make sure that stays to a minimum. It's been a great rugby game so far. Just have the captains control both sides.
For those new to the sport, your referee will tell the captain sometimes, go over a word with your men or women, and then let's get back to the game. We haven't had that just yet, but Mount St. Mary's find itself in a good position on the Army 5. Can they break through and make this match closer? Take a nice stop. Mount St. Mary's tries to form them all. But Army, lots of leg strength here, trying to keep the Mountaineers out. And ultimately it came to Corbett, who's trying to push his way through. Can he dot down or is it held? No signal yet. It's held! Army bends, does a yoga pose, but does not break.
Really nice to see us do that to another team. Coach was training that on Thursday down at the pitch, where you tackle those guys and you drag them into your try zone and hold them up. It's a huge play.
For those who did not follow the two games out west, especially the Cal Poly game, and missed the first half here, Army's had trouble scoring and held balls, especially the Cal Poly game, were a bit of an issue. Finally, Army catches a break with some great hard work here. Coming up on a 12-minute mark of the second half elapsed, Army still in front by 10. This is going to be shanked, but it still will go in a touch.
And he can't go straight into touch off the goal line drop.
That sets up a scrum, doesn't it?
Scrum center, great attacking platform for Mount St. Mary's. Options left and right. Be interested to see where Corbett and Brunello are. I feel like the ball will follow them. You have Brunello stacked behind the fly half, right behind the scrum, gives them options left and right, but Corbett is off to the right there. I think they're going to go right, but we'll see here.
No whistle yet. It's finally hooked back out. Couple of quick passes. Wyatt can't get rid of it. Army trying to be strong here. They just were. Can they do it again? Lewis can't go anywhere. Army. And they found a second gear. It came to McGroarty. Lots of humanity there. More pushing. Able to take care of the ball carrier is Engels. And we've got a whistle, and it's a knock-on against Mount.
Been doing great, Nick, and we're throwing in shots down here. Like, these are physical hits. And if you have enough physical hits like that, then you're going to have handling errors. Army scrum. Let's hope we can change the territory. Let's get back over on Mount St. Mary's side.
For those joining us late, 4th minute, penalty kick by Howie Heller put Army in front. 11th minute, Kevin Corbett, 11th minute, his penalty kick made it 3-3. Then a couple of tries for Army late in the first half. Dylan Niski, who's now departed in the 34th minute, and Landon Duffy right at the end of the first half. That is how we get to 13-3 in favor of Army.
We have Tariq Adams right down in front of us, getting warm. A great finisher, brings a ton of energy. Trying to see who else we have down there warming up.
You can dress 8 reserves per match. This one is going to be shanked a little bit. And it finds the second row.
That's tough out of there, Nick. That's about as good as we're going to do out of there. Outside the 22. Let's compete in the air here. I think we can steal their line-out ball.
Army's lineouts have basically been perfect today. They've defended Mount St. Mary's well. Tossing it back in will be McGettigan.
Substitution, John Hartford in for George Engels.
Take it, it's dropped immediately. But they say it'll be against Army. Was knocked out of his hand, it looked like.
Pulling down in the lineout in the air.
Raymond McGettigan says his team will kick. And on comes Evan Corbett. Again, the penalty kick back in the 11th that got the game tied.
Interesting decision to go for a point. So if they make it 13-6, they're still going to need to score a try, and they're still going to need to get the extra points after that.
But Mount St. Mary's clearly has its kicking game under control. This might be the toughest play of them all. Roughly from 26, 27 meters. he's missed this one badly. That is a huge break for Army. I don't know if the train put him off. I don't know if his plant foot was bad, but that's an uncharacteristic miss from Evan Corbett.
It is, and it looks like now he's down there with a cramp.
Oh, dear.
Unfortunate to see.
He looks like he's in a lot of pain right now. Trying to look at that calf muscle with my own eyes. It looks like there's something brewing there, and it's stronger than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and I guess I'm a bit at odds with what I was talking about in the first half. Because the first half I said, in knockout rugby, you need to get the points so you can get the points. They went for the points. Unfortunately, not a clean strike. Maybe fortunate that the train was heading up north there.
It did sound the horn, and I don't expect the conductor to understand that in rugby, nobody makes a noise. It's like you're in church about to pray the rosary when somebody's trying to kick.
No, unfortunately, I don't think we have comms down there with him. Maybe we put a big sign on the road down there.
Lots of signs this morning. As I was driving, and I got golf carted up here because this is ACFT Day here at West Point. For those who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, what is it, and do you truly need to have a good score to graduate?
Yeah, Nick, it's an A weekend, so the Corps was out training across campus, across the post, across the training areas this morning, including that was their Army combat fitness test. So they're getting a little run in down on the road, a timed run. Good to see them out there, but it does make for a busy post. We still have Corbett down here. Looks like he's sucking down some electrolytes, trying to get some fluids back in him. Interesting to see it too, because I mean, what's the temperature right now?
It's about 51, 52 degrees. It's not incredibly warm, but it's not cold either. He's going to try to stay in that game. I'm looking at that right calf. It's got all kinds of chalk on it. It's not like college soccer where he can leave and come back. If he leaves, he's done. They do not want him out. Look at that. Is that the right calf that's being stretched there, or is it the left? They both look like they've taken a beating.
Maybe the right calf, and then he has that taped left knee. But as the coach said, these guys have been playing rugby since August. I got a brief minute to talk to the coaching staff of Mount St. Mary's. They said, hey, we've been playing this in August. The way we're going to win this game is to be doing what we're doing.
So Mount St. Mary's will get it back at midfield. McKay gets knocked down. Comes for Wild. Almost picked off. Here comes James. Gets to the Army 10. Wants to hang on to it. He goes down. Now he must get rid of it. And Army must get back on side completely new here. Here comes Corbett. Army will be wise to see if they can challenge Corbett physically to see how good his legs truly are at the moment as James.
Looks like he's cramping again.
Good handoff there to Horan by Calvo. There's again an eye on the ball and an eye on Evan Corbett right now. One of the Scholes nominees for Mount, who is clearly laboring right now. If he's not able to kick, that certainly clouds things for the Mountaineers, to say the least. More activity as Mount continues to mind the store, just trying to get closer. It comes to Lewis. Lewis is wrapped up and taken down. He's double teamed. The pace of play appears a little bit slower right now for Mount St. Mary's than it was earlier, as down goes Brunello. If Corbett is not 100%, then the world's going to be asked of Bastion Brunello here in the final 21 and change. It comes to James. And Army continues to penetrate. McKay across the 10 again. Look down for Brunello, who took it straight from Corbett. Trying to drive forward is Wild. He is parried away. Lewis looks to hurdle his way, ultimately able to offload it, and Mount St. Mary's, thanks to McKay, able to churn up some territory here. Brunello, now for Staludi. He runs into traffic, and he's pushed away again. We've got a whistle. Looks like a high tackle against Army.
High tackle, Joey Knight. Tough call there. Let's see if they go to points, but you just got to take a second to appreciate this rugby. That was probably 10 plus phases. Our second time that we've probably seen that sort of phase under these conditions. Just goes to show this is the elite level of USA college rugby. These are great teams. This is a battle. The margins are slim.
Do you get a sense that the plan of attack for Mount is evolving before our eyes with Corbett not 100% at the moment?
Those are some great phases, and he wasn't incredibly involved, which was kind of interesting. It was a little bit more slow, forcing us to make mistakes, which is unfortunately what we did.
Line out secured. Can Mount drive in? Yes, they do! Somebody came flying, feel like he came off the top rope of the wrestling ring. As Mount St. Mary's is back in the game, the margin is 5 with a conversion to come.
So I have that down as the second penalty against Army. Army has given up 2 scores. We gave up the 3 points in the 11th minute. We give up a try in the 60th minute. So it's just crazy to see that correlation between penalties and points.
It might have been Raymond McGettigan that got it down for Mount St. Mary's. Margin is now 5. Logan Wild in to kick a long conversion again because of where it was dotted down. He's got to kick this one from Guam.
And not Evan Corbett.
It's coming back, and he's overshot it.
Nice strike, curve left.
It started out well, but it didn't end well, and the margin is stuck at 5 with 19 minutes left. So a critical miss. A try alone only ties the match.
Some big wind in our face right now, Nick, as we restart this right now.
I'm just glad it's not rain, but we're not in the woods yet. I think we're still in the woods, but there's no bear nearby. Ball hangs up in the wind a little bit as having to come rushing is Brunello, who gets rid of it. Letting it go by was Tariq Adams, as Army able to kick it again. Are we playing ping pong with the feet right now? Yes, we are. But this one's going to sail over to touch. And that's a break for Army.
Poor mistake. Evan Corbett still nursing that cramp. We also have a front row change. Matt Doyle and Tariq Adams are now in the game. I believe Jacob Otterini and Gabe Savage are off. So completely new front row. Obviously Chuck's been in there since the first half, but front row right now is Charles Rollins, Tariq Adams, and Matt Doyle hooking. Matt Doyle will throw this ball in.
Evan Corbett is trying to stay in this game right now, but it looks like Captain Hook with a peg leg. That cramp is really working on him. He might be the toughest guy on post, cadet or not right now, if he's still laboring out there. Army able to secure the line out. Can they just take up some time at the very least? Points would be great as down goes Gamboa.
Penalty advantage from the side in the maul.
Not the first time that's happened today to Mount, as Army continues on here. It comes to Rollins, who gets across the 22 again. Now for Mannions. Back to the 22. Army trying to be disciplined here, trying not to overthink it. They've had issues inside the 22 lately. Adams gets back to the 22.
Advantage again.
This one is pooched forward. Ball is collected now. We've got a whistle. And I think the second advantage was a signal that they could take advantage of that and just try something where they weren't going to lose much.
You're exactly right, Nick. And you can hear the crowd and the players, the other 40 players, they always yell free one when they see the ref do it. They say free one because it's a free play that they can take advantage of. But coming back to the penalty, looks like we'll go to touch. Let's get that ball going.
Coming up on 16 minutes left in what's been a game that we thought would be a bit crazy. It has been, and the best part is the weather has not been a huge factor. 13-8 Army in front. Heller takes care of business, and Army will set this up here.
I believe I missed the substitution early as well, Nick. We have George Hemman in there, number 21. I think he replaced Landon Duffy.
If that's the case, then I believe that the entire first five for Army is now on the bench that started the game. Secured. Ball formed. And now it comes crashing down. Can everybody get involved? It came to Gould. Does he have enough energy left? He's trying to high step his way past a couple of tires, but Mount St. Mary's does a good job again. Adams looks to barge his way through, but he can't. On a second attempt, he does get a couple of meters. Army continues pushing the parade. Shifted back. Couple of good passes. And we've got a whistle. This one looks like it'll be against Mount.
This penalty difference continues to climb. We're at about 10 for Mount St. Mary's. 2 penalties against Army. Some great carries in there by Reek Adams. Great energy off the bench. Goes to the corner. Let's get the ball rolling.
What can Mount St. Mary's do in the last 15 minutes to limit those penalties? Besides, I know the couple have been called for entering the side.
You know, and if they're being aggressive to try to get those turnovers, that's what you're going to need to do, because in order to score tries, you need the ball. They haven't had much of the ball recently, so it's going to be a rough 15 minutes for them.
Army looking to put some distance between itself and Mount. They've had some missed opportunities in this situation today.
Deep green zone, let's be methodical, patient, attritional.
The vigil has begun. Can Army take advantage? Adams, I think, involved here. No signal yet. They're not quite there. Maybe 1 or 2 away. Driving through. No signal underway yet. Has to be close now. Hook back out. Good stutter step, but not able to bring on to make it was Gould. Army trying to belly crawl its way through. Just hang on to the ball if you're Army. No mistakes here. Take more time off that clock.
Mount St. Mary's commits a penalty or we score.
Those are the 2 options. Here comes Gamboa. Tries to shovel it out quickly. And bringing it in! And saying he's got it! And diving into the deep end of Crandall!
Cheeky play. I love that. Blues ball pounding. Just straight off from that. Pick and goes. Pick and goes. Suck that defense in. Isaac then sees the opportunity. The backline sees him lined up. They find that gap. Howie walks in. Does a little nice swan dive there. Gets it going with 13 minutes left.
Howie Heller has a PK, has a try, now has a conversion staring at him. When you have ties after extra time international rugby, there's a shootout where some of the guys who don't normally kick have to make a kick like this one. This should be an easy one for Heller. Army is in front by 12 with 12 minutes remaining. You get a sense the window for Mount has started to close after an attritional try in every single sense for Army.
Mount right here is pushing the pace up here to get this restart going. The Water and trainers are rushing off for West Point. Brunellen wants to get this ball back in play.
Army must secure the ball, and they'll get rid of it. It'll drop in the field of play and take an Army bounce. And it's caught! Tremendous catch made by Matt Leslie. That might not show up in a box score, but that's an important play for Army. As trying to barrel his way through is Chase Brown for Mount St. Mary's. It's grounded but kept alive. Army just trying to take more time off that clock as down goes Gould. 11 and change left. Army trying to advance to the quarterfinal round of the CRAAs. It comes to Leach. Luke Leach getting across midfield again, but that's as far as he goes for now. Army saying that Mount did not roll away.
Hands in the ruck, easy call, 22 right there. We all saw it. But as you said, you got to start being aggressive down in these moments of the game. But all played off of a kick by Nate Gould, an incredible chase by Matt Leslie right down in front of us to win that ball back. That's effort, that's Army Rugby. Matt Leslie, quiet professional, he leads by example.
Heller's going to kick this one further down. They've had missed opportunities, but how much has time of possession helped Army enjoy this 12-point lead?
No, absolutely. That attritional rugby over 80 minutes, suffocation. Great touch finder. Let's hope we win this ball right here.
5 or 7 may put this game out of reach. Mount has played tough, but too many penalties along the way and not enough possession, especially in the Army 22. And now here comes Mangus. Mangus tries to hurdle a couple of potholes. Ball comes out, but Army maintains possession.
There's a new law about playing the 9.
We have a whistle here.
Call there. But I love Elijah Mangus, a star high school basketball player. Looked like a basketball move there with a little bit of fake left, go right.
Okay, go back to what you're saying, playing the 9.
Yeah, so in that ruck, when that 9 is getting ready to get that ball out to the forwards, or if he's trying to play that out to 10, they cannot interfere with that action. I've seen that a couple times. She isn't called it. I know our sideline has been aware of it, but we got the offsides call. Back into it. 5-meter line out. Once again, we'll go ball. I know it. Black Knights know it. Mount St. Mary's knows it. But who wants it more? But as always with the line out, first thing we got to do is win the ball, then get it going forward.
Securing the ball has not been an issue for Army in lineouts today. As the clock continues to run, 9 minutes left. A snooze bar away from advancing in the national tournament. Can they get one more? They do! Looks like it might have been Noah Sanchez that got that one down.
Matt Doyle, maybe. Matt Doyle's going crazy.
It is Doyle. Doyle may have just sent Army into the quarterfinals.
Firstly, Matty Doyle, last game on Warrior Field. I love to see that energy. It's great to see him dot that down. As I've always said, ball tries are forward tries, but really special to see Matt Doyle in that 16 jersey come on in as a reserve, throw that dart in there, secure that ball, get them all going forward, and touch it down, put this game out of reach.
Heller is going to kick this one from Hawaii. He is 1 for 3 in conversions today, 1 and 2 in penalty kicks. Has the try as well. Luciano being very generous with the time given here. Gonna come back. No, it doesn't. That was gonna be a tough kick no matter what. Army maintains its 17-point lead with just over 7 minutes left.
Once again, Mount St. Mary's will try to push some pace here, but Nick, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how important it is that we're playing on Warrior Field today. They went out to California, not the results that we wanted. We didn't win those battles, but we won the war. It was looked fondly upon our results to earn this home victory today and get one last go out for the firsties on Warrior Field. Incredibly special.
Unless something bizarre happens here in the last 7 minutes, Army will turn to 8-0 at home. We've got a whistle. It's a knock-on. But yes, it wasn't that long ago, about a year and a half ago, it felt like, where you see the scoreboard down in that corner. Water began to infiltrate. We had that horrible storm in around Highland Falls. The turf field that's adjacent has now basically been replaced. I was worried about the condition of this field, but thanks to some lucky weather, I think, we have not had a mud pit at the end here. And here comes Nick Trout at the end here for Army.
Nick Trout on for Nate Gould. Once again, Nate Gould, firstie. Last game at Warrior Field. What an effort by him in that 12 jersey, typically in his 15 jersey, but we have that next man up mentality. He's a leader, he's a captain of this team. Wore that jersey well today.
There are several firsties who are going to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. A couple that are going to Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. We've got somebody going to Hohenfels in Germany. East Grafenwehr in Germany as well. That's where Nate Gould is going for field artillery. Ben Westfall, in my view, gets the lucky prize. Infantry at Fort Drum, New York, where it snows 10 months of the season. Great for all those who will be tossing their covers in the air in May. Grateful for the man next to me during his life of service, as well as the man who joined us at halftime. As Mount St. Mary's just trying to make the scoreline closer at this point, but it looks like the window is certainly closed, and they're asking if the glass is bulletproof. Wild has to turn back. This one knocked ahead, but no call given, unless it's somebody for Army first. And now Army gets possession and will try to move forward quickly. The Black Knights with some fresh legs here in the second half, and that has helped sustain them here. And we've got a whistle.
Not releasing. Quick tap by Mount St. Mary's.
As the Mountaineers again just trying to get closer again. If this was sevens and a team was down by a bunch, they forego the conversion, just score to try to have the kickoff immediately. But right now, Mountain needs every single point they can get. This one is sent towards Gianni Danza. He's able to fall on it. And we've got a whistle. Looks like this is forward with 4 minutes left.
It was actually a great blocker line. Found the space, got his shoulders through, just lost track of that pass a little bit.
It looks like Colby Schrichty's coming in for Army. You see the time left. They've stopped the clock for the sub. And the question is coming off now.
Good job, Noah.
Good day for Noah Sanchez leading the team around in that number 10 jersey.
It's been a good day at West Point, as I have some important news for this community. Women's tennis has claimed the Star over Navy 4-1, and that helps in the Star race. The Star Series started by USA 8. It's now 12-9. Track and field still going at Annapolis. This one is put away at the last second. As down to get it quickly is Dons again for Mount St. Mary's. Time not their friend. It comes to Brunello, who has played hard.
Shot by John Hartford.
Army's depth, their finishers here in the second half, have provided the tonic necessary to keep Mount St. Mary's from cutting into the lead.
Mount St. Mary's is playing advantage over there. I didn't see what the penalty was on West Point.
It comes now for Gavin Moore, who has it almost picked off and brought back now. Shifted ahead for Hughes, who lost the ball, but it came ultimately to Dante. He's forced it out. And that is a big, big hit. And celebrating like he's won the lottery is Howie Heller, who's had a heck of a game.
Let's go, Army!
It's about pushing them off the cliff. Push them off the cliff when they get toward that touchline.
Quick check of the Star meet for track and field in Annapolis. The men's meet is closed. Navy up up by a couple of points with 3 events left. Trying to keep in track of everybody, but Army, the rugby team, looks like they will live to fight another week. Calls for offsides against Mount St. Mary's. 2 minutes left now.
Good job, John.
Army, a strong second half, has been able to take control of this game as Leach drives forward a couple more steps. And a whistle here. This looks like the not releasing the ball against Army, so Mount gets one final opportunity here potentially. It comes to James. James is tackled about 15 or so away. Shifted back again. Good inside offload now for McKay. 90 seconds left. Winner heads to either top-ranked Life or will host Davenport next week. Life, the heavy favorite in that game. So this is likely Army's final game of the season at Warrior Field and Anderson Rugby Complex. Kane to McKay. Ball comes out, but it's kept right for Sherrick, who's approaching the end goal area. Army wants to finish strong here, but it looks like it's going to be McKay getting one more score for the road for the Mountaineers.
A couple of penalties in our end, not releasing penalties.
Looks like they kicked it immediately.
Missed.
Which you can do. You see a lot in sevens, but Mount is just seeing if they can force this kickoff to take place before the final gun goes. No, there's no 12-point try, but it's important for Mount that Army kicks this ball away before the final seconds are off the clock, but there's 25 left on it now.
Nick, my takeaways of this game, as Army moves on, most likely going down to Atlanta to face Life University next week, right in line with Coach Sherman's strategy, his playing style, individual discipline. The penalty difference was huge in favor of West Point, attritional rugby, just down in there and suffocation.
It did feel like a rear naked choke at the end, that's for sure. We have reached the last of the 40 here in the second half. The jig is up. Question is, what's the final score line? If Army gets possession, presumably they'll kick it a touch, and that will start the buffet. Lunch is going to taste really good to the Cadets, and a big hit towards the end. Mount has not given up. The penalties and lack of possession have hurt them today, as they appear to have one good crescendo here at the end. Brown tries to save what he can. It's out of bounds. Is that it from Luciano? It is. Army advances to the quarterfinal round of the Collegiate Rugby Association America D1A tournament. It wasn't pretty, but they made enough plays, especially in the second half, to complete the mission.
Kudos to Mount St. Mary's. I love seeing the team play 80 minutes, scoring that try. You know, within the 78th, 79th minute, a lot of heart on that team. Very strong program. Good to see them.
Army West Point 25, Mount St. Mary's
really,
13.
this all came down to the strategy, the way that West Point wanted to play, their playing style over this 80 minutes. The better team won.
And our team website for the date and location for the next round of playoffs. We thank you for your support.
Howie Heller leads the charge for Army, scores a try, has a penalty kick, has a conversion. That means he scored 10 points today. Landon Duffy, Dylan Liskey, Matt Doyle. They also had tries for Army as the Black Knights able to take care of Mount. Evan Corbett, I'm not sure he was on the field at the end of the game, but if he was, he gave everything he had to give for the Mountaineers. Just a reminder, you can use X to keep up latest information about Army West Point men's rugby. Handle is Army, WP_men's rugby. That's Army, WP_men's rugby on X for the latest news as to where the Black Knights will go from here as they continue on in their title chase. They tell me it is time to go. Lunch is about to be served. The Director of Live Events and Video Services at Army West Point Athletics is Michael Tornillo. The Assistant Director is Zachary Hoover. The Assistant Athletics Director for Creative Video is Brett Rory. Special thanks to our halftime guest, Colonel Nathaniel Conkey, Commandant of the United States Military Academy Prep School. For Sam Lane, Doctor on camera, and for the man next to me, Captain Colin McGee, I'm Nikolai Blusko. Thank you for joining us at your Rockbound Highland home today. Wherever you go, be well and have a great rest of your day.